People always say, if it looks perfect, it probably isn't. But I didn't want to believe that. I had a beautiful home, a respected career, and a wife who made everyone jealous. My name's Noah. I'm 41. Trauma surgeon for nearly 2 decades. Calm under pressure, loyal to a fault, predictable in the best possible way. At least, that's what I used to think. That Thursday started like any other. 12 hours in the OR, saving people who'd made the worst decisions of their lives. I stitched up a guy who flew off his motorcycle, calmed a mother whose son had a punctured lung, and gave bad news with the kind of voice that says, "I've done this before. You can trust me." I came home around 9 p.m. exhausted. My back was killing me. The second I walked through the door, the smell of rosemary chicken hit me. Natalie always cooked on Thursdays. It was our routine. She greeted me with a smile, kissed my cheek, poured me a glass of wine without saying a word. We'd been married for 8 years. We didn't need to speak to know what the other was thinking. Or at least, that's what I thought. She looked perfect. Cream-colored sweater, hair tucked behind one ear, eyes soft. The kind of woman who made people ask me, "How did a guy like you end up with someone like her?" I used to laugh when they said that. Now it hits different. I showered, changed, and collapsed on the couch. She was in the kitchen, humming. That's when it happened. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost let it go, but something told me to answer. "Hello." At first, nothing. Just static. Then a woman's voice, low and shaky. "Is this Noah?" "Yeah." "Who's this?" "Sorry. Wrong number." She should have hung up right there. But she didn't. I waited. She breathed, like she was deciding whether or not to say more. Then she did. Everything's not what it seems, especially with the person closest to you. And just like that, click. The call ended. I stared at the screen. My heart didn't race, but it did shift. Like something inside me had just quietly realigned. It felt wrong. Familiar and foreign at the same time. I got up and looked down the hallway. Natalie was in the bathroom, brushing her hair, singing softly under her breath. She looked peaceful, untouchable, like someone who couldn't possibly have secrets. But that voice, that sentence, it started echoing inside me like a warning I didn't know I needed. I sat back down, replayed the call in my head, especially with the person closest to you. It wasn't a random prank. The voice knew me. She didn't sound drunk. She sounded scared, or maybe guilty. Natalie came out, smiled, and sat beside me like nothing happened. I wanted to ask her if she knew the number, but something in me told me not to. Not yet. That night in bed, she fell asleep quickly, her back to me, phone still warm in her hand. I stared at the ceiling for hours. I kept thinking, what if it's true? What if everything I built is a lie? And the worst part? If someone's living a double life right next to you, you're the last one to see it. Let me tell you something. When a stranger tells you to look closer, maybe it's because someone didn't want you to see it all. This was the moment it all began. The unraveling, the betrayal, the war. And I was about to learn that the worst kind of pain is the one that comes wearing a smile. They say once doubt enters your mind, it never truly leaves. It just waits, like a shadow in the corner of your eye, growing darker every time you blink. After that call, something in me shifted. I didn't accuse Natalie. I didn't ask questions. I didn't want to seem paranoid. But I started watching, closer than ever before. At first, it was little things. Subtle. She started taking her phone into the bathroom. That wasn't new, but now she'd stay in there longer, with the water running, talking softly, laughing sometimes. Then silence. I'd knock, and she'd pretend like nothing happened. "Oh, just a friend from work," she'd say. Always vague, always too casual. Then came the late meetings. A last-minute yoga retreat. A girls' trip with someone I'd never met. I wanted to believe her. God knows I tried. But my gut wouldn't shut up. That damn voice kept whispering. Everything's not what it seems. One night, she left her laptop open. Said she was taking a bath. I didn't plan to snoop. I really didn't. But the screen was glowing. A draft folder, half open. And curiosity? Well, it won. Inside was an unsent email. Subject line: Costa Rica, final step before we leave. It was written to someone named Ryan. I didn't recognize the name, but I read every word of that message with shaking hands. I can't wait to be free. Once everything is finalized, we'll disappear for good. He won't see it coming. He never does. I've already moved half the money, just waiting for the papers. I froze. I couldn't breathe. That email wasn't just about cheating. It was an escape plan, a betrayal of everything: my trust, our marriage, my entire life. Natalie, my wife, was planning to leave me. Not just for another man, but with my money, my home, and my silence. I sat there, laptop still warm beneath my palms, and stared at the screen until her footsteps echoed down the hallway. I barely closed the lid in time. She walked in wearing a towel, steam following her like a ghost. She smiled, kissed me on the head. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said. But inside, I wasn't okay. Something inside me cracked open that night. Not just heartbreak, something sharper. Purpose. I wasn't going to confront her. Not yet, because if she thought I was clueless, then I had the advantage. And the first rule of revenge? Never let them know you're coming. There comes a point when you stop grieving and start calculating. Finding that email changed everything. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just went still, like a surgeon right before the first cut, calm, focused, deadly. Natalie thought she was playing me, but now the game had changed, and I wasn't planning to lose. I started small. I told her I had to fly to Chicago for a medical conference. Nothing suspicious. I'd done it a dozen times before. She smiled like usual, even helped me pack. "You'll be back Sunday night?" she asked. "Late flight," I said. "Don't wait up." She kissed me goodbye on Friday morning, and I watched her through the rearview mirror as I drove away. Only, I never went to the airport. I booked a room across town, set up a temporary phone line, installed 2 tiny GPS trackers, one in her purse, one under her car. I'd never done anything like this before, but I learned fast. That night, around 6:45 p.m., she left the house with a small suitcase. Said she was going to visit a friend who was going through something emotional. Right. At 7:15, her tracker pinged a boutique hotel in the city. Same room all weekend. Same man. His name? Ryan. The man from the email. Tall, athletic, charming enough. A fitness consultant, apparently. Probably had 6-pack abs and zero shame. But here's the twist. That woman who called me weeks ago, I never forgot her voice. I reverse searched the number. Took some digging, but eventually I found her. Her name was Julia, Natalie's college roommate from back in the day. I called her, told her everything. She went silent. "Julia, she's doing it again," she whispered. "Again?" I asked. "She pulled this same crap with my fiancé. Years ago. Tried to sabotage us. Lied, manipulated. I warned people, but no one believed me. I cut her off. And now she believed me. She wanted in. We met at a diner 2 nights later. She wore a leather jacket, hair tied back, eyes sharp. "You still love her?" Julia asked. "Honestly, I don't even know who she is anymore." "Good. Then let's destroy the version of her everyone thinks they know." That night, the plan began. I sent a carefully written message to Natalie's boss, asking if he knew she'd been lying about work hours. From a fake patient account, I booked a session with Ryan, recorded the whole Zoom call. Had him flirting, casually mentioning Natalie. "Yeah, I'm seeing someone. It's complicated. She's married, but not for long." Got it all on video. Julia helped me reach a few of Natalie's old friends. Friends who thought she was the perfect wife. I sent them screenshots, videos, dates, proof. Their replies were all the same. I had no idea. This is insane. I feel sick. But I didn't. I felt alive. Like I had clarity for the first time in years. Natalie had spent months lying, planning to leave me in the dust. But now, I was going to make sure she walked through the wreckage she created, barefoot. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. I say it's best served prepared, with witnesses and undeniable evidence. She thought I was blind, but I was wide awake. And the next move would be the one she'd never forget. After weeks of watching, recording, listening, I had everything. But then I found something that made my blood run cold. In the back of Natalie's closet, tucked behind a pile of winter scarves, was a folder. Inside, copies of financial transfers, legal consultations, a drafted divorce agreement, with one name on the assets, hers. She was going to drain everything. The house, the savings, even my retirement fund. All of it in her name. I didn't even confront her, because Natalie still thought she was 2 steps ahead. Still thought I was the idiot husband with his head buried in surgery and night shifts. And that was my advantage. I reached out to my lawyer, told him everything. We froze joint accounts, removed my name from risky holdings, and, most importantly, made sure any surprise filing from her would trigger an automatic review. Then I scheduled an email blast. One carefully timed message, with all the screenshots, the hotel records, Ryan's flirt sessions, and even the money trail, sent to a select audience. Her boss, her parents, her siblings, her two best friends from university. Oh, and the board of a charity she helped run, where she played the model wife and mentor. The subject line? The real Natalie, a story in evidence. I sent it on a Monday morning, 8:03 a.m. By 8:14, her world had started to burn. At 8:17, she called me. "Noah, what did you do?" "Me," I said calmly. "I just told the truth. Something you haven't done in a long time. You're ruining my life." "No, Natalie. You ruined it. I just turned on the lights." She hung up. By 9 a.m., her mother was at our house, crying, asking questions. By noon, she was removed from the charity board. By 3 p.m., her boss suspended her, pending investigation into misuse of time and resources. I wish I could say I smiled. I didn't. I felt hollow, because this wasn't about joy. It was justice. And I wasn't done. I sent Ryan a message next. Anonymous account. One line, one question. How many of her stories do you actually believe? Attached were pictures. Proof. Messages between Natalie and 3 other men from the past year. Yes, Ryan was her main plan. But he wasn't the only one. The next day, Ryan was gone. Ghosted her completely. Blocked on everything. Took down all his gym content with her in it. She texted him. Called. Screamed. Nothing. And that night, for the first time, Natalie came home early. Quiet. No music. No excuses. Just a shell of herself. She looked at me like a stranger. Eyes red. Face pale. Hands shaking. "Why?" she whispered. "Why did you want to destroy me?" I looked her dead in the eyes. "You did that all by yourself. I just made sure you couldn't hide from it anymore." Sometimes karma doesn't whisper. Sometimes it arrives in high definition, with a timestamp and witnesses. Natalie wanted to control everything. But the truth? She never saw the fall coming. And now she had to live in the ruins she built with her own hands. I used to think revenge meant fire, anger, chaos, ruin. But the truth? Sometimes the most powerful kind of revenge is walking away clean, without a single scar on your soul. After everything fell apart, Natalie did what she always does, tried to twist the story. But no one was listening anymore. Ryan disappeared from her life without a word. Her boss replaced her. Her parents, the same ones who used to call me the perfect son-in-law, said they needed space from her. Translation? They finally saw her for who she was. Friends ghosted her. Even her yoga retreat group unfollowed her on Instagram. And me? I didn't gloat. I didn't throw a party. I filed the divorce papers with quiet hands and a calm heart. No anger, no begging, no second chances. Just signatures and silence. She tried to talk a few times. Apologize. Say she was confused. That she made a mistake. But I was already gone, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. There's no version of this, I told her once, where I take you back and respect myself at the same time. That was the last real conversation we ever had. 2 months later, I sold the house, packed what I needed into my car, left the rest behind, the furniture, the memories, the weight. I drove south. No GPS, no plan, just followed the coastline until the ocean felt right. And eventually, it did. I found a quiet little town, one of those places where no one knows your name, but they smile at you anyway. Rented a small cottage a few minutes from the shore. Woke up to birds instead of alarms. Drank coffee on the porch instead of rushing out the door. I started feeling like myself again, or maybe for the first time. One morning, I walked into a small clinic. Local hospital. Clean walls. Friendly staff. Nothing fancy. They needed an extra pair of hands in the ER. I filled out the application, smiled at the nurse behind the desk. "You ever worked in high-pressure environments?" she asked. I chuckled. "You have no idea." That night, I was unpacking a box of books when my phone rang. Unknown number. I stared at it. Could have ignored it. Could have let it go to voicemail. But this time, I picked it up. "Hello." A confused voice replied. Sorry, wrong number." "No worries," I said, smiling. "Happens." They hung up. I stood there for a second and laughed. Because now, I could tell the difference between a warning and a harmless mistake. Let me tell you something. Revenge isn't about ruining someone. It's about refusing to let them ruin you. Natalie's story ended in silence. Mine, just getting started.